Godzilla. You're mistaken if you think your powers are a match for MechaGodzilla.
Well, Super Report Reviews. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnaz.
And today we'll be going over the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla 1974. If you guys don't know who this is, go watch the film Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla, the Showa series version, not the Heisei, which is kind of some people consider MechaGodzilla too, but they pretty much have the same name. But yeah, it's also called Godzilla vs. the Cosmic Monster is another title for it, where you have MechaGodzilla fighting both Godzilla, and he also fights Anguirus and King Caesar in that movie, who was a new kaiju for that one. Also, mostly the same version that you see in 75. I think there's some slight differences in the suit, but for the most part, same look. So if getting this figure kind of kills two movies, one stone for the most part. And the main reason I picked this up is just because I really love this version of MechaGodzilla. Pretty much any MechaGodzilla I'm pretty much down to be picking up. He's one of my favorite kaijus in the series. Just super cool. They need to make for this, like, the Imposter Godzilla.
Imposter Godzilla.
Yeah, you know when he's like at the beginning of the film where he's wearing the Godzilla suit.
When he gets damaged and like pieces start falling off of him.
Yeah, where Anguirus like exposes like part of his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need that figure. Stat.
Oh, that would be awesome if they would make one and then like you can take some of the pieces off where it shows the MechaGodzilla part.
All they really need to do is make a 74 Godzilla to go along with this. Or even 75, I guess. It's like it's a little different. But make that one, and then the reissue could just come with extra parts.
Yeah, like accessories where you can just put it on.
Yeah, and just like change the color a little bit or something. Make it a little more diversified. That'd be awesome. There you go. Got some ideas there, Tamashi. But anyways, without further ado, for the package, just get a nice image on MechaGodzilla on the front with some slashes going on in the more light baby blue packaging. Top of the package, just more slashes. MechaGodzilla 74. This side, more of the same, but in a nice red coloring. Opposite side, get a nice front shot of MechaGodzilla. Back just shows you all the stuff he comes with, him and some dynamic poses, and some Lego mumbo jumbo on the bottom.
Wait, this guy can fly?
Well, you can set him up to fly, but he doesn't actually come with like a stand to fly.
Oh, what? That's false advertisement.
That's like all the flying ones. Only the special edition of King Ghidorah came with a flying stand.
Ugh.
Which is kind of sad. But let's get him opened up out of his cardboard prison. Alright, so now that we got him opened up out of his cardboard prison, first we're going to go over his accessories. Starting with his tummy laser.
God, what does that look like from a sign from a flash from that old TV show?
Could be. It could be like Harry Potter's like little lightning scar thing on top of his... I don't know. I don't barely watch Harry Potter. But, or Flash for that matter, too. But yeah, could be like a little logo. But overall, detail-wise, get you out of the way, so stop focusing. Yeah, we'll just move the camera up. But for the laser, it's just done a translucent yellow plastic with a little bit of green effect over top of it. You got a little bloom at the beginning of the laser, because technically it's supposed to shoot out like that. So the tip is aiming towards your kaiju that you want to be damaged. Well, this section is going to be what's going to be sitting on his stomach. Because, technically, for his mouth, it's not correct to use this guy. But how you attach this, well, get this to sit on your MechaGodzilla anyways, is way the instruction shows it. It wants you to kind of flick at it with your nail right there is where it points the arrow. But I found out that if you push in on it, it'll pop out. There we go. Because when I started trying to get at it, I may have started taking off some silver soap. It's like something's going awry. That is just like, it's a really tight fit for something that's kind of like cockeyed angle.
I got some good details in there though.
Yeah, the top plate is not very symmetrical, but oh poopy, I put it back in. There we go. Yeah. But on the inside, you get the little red laser nub with some added stuff going on in there. And then this will sit like so. And how you get it to sit like so is it actually comes with
a crappy stand.
A crappy stand. Because what it is just a little plastic oval. Stick the stand there. And then it comes with a top section that gives you a ball joint. Now, when getting this on, you want to make sure to hold it right here by the ball joint. because if you hold it down here, this is going to flex, and it's a pretty tight fit up here. So you're going to want to hold it as close to the top as possible. So now you got this little articulated joint here. And then how you set this up is you kind of just adjust your MechaGodzilla, you line it up, and then grabbing at the top section here again to articulate it. Now we have our tummy lasers. And all of its weird little 70s glory. Now the only thing that kind of is a bummer, which is the reason why I'm not a big fan of the stand, I wish we would have got a Tamashii Act with that little attachment on it, is just in case, like maybe if I wanted to use it for its mouth laser, you don't get that option anymore.
It's not big enough?
No, because it only sits this high, so you only really get to have it sticking out of his stomach, and then you can kind of articulate it, I guess. But it just, to me, at this point, it kind of defeats the purpose because it's only going to be going in at this angle. You kind of have to have it at one specific spot because, like, I guess you can rotate it a little bit, but what's really the point there? Like, this could have almost just been, like, a fixed thing, and it would have been fine. Like, I don't really see why this is necessary, because I can't even, like, angle it upright because it's just a single straight stand. So, again, kind of wish I would have came with the Tamashii Act stand, but this is kind of what we get for now. And then he comes with a pair of missile fingers, which what these are is for when you see in the film him shooting his missiles out of his fingertips. So, this is supposed to be them, like, already ejected, which is pretty cool. Again, maybe we'd like to see like an explosion piece come with this guy so you can have it kind of replicating that it's like literally firing would have been pretty cool. Or maybe something to overlay on top of the fingertips to make it look more like they're actually shooting.
Does he shoot missiles out of those fingertips?
Yeah, he does in the movie.
No, I'm talking about here. Why?
No, they're just, this is it.
That's it?
That's it.
That's disappointing.
Now how you get it onto MechaGodzilla is you just pull straight from the forearm. Pretty easy to do. The socket is a little bit inserted into there. So I noticed that getting it on is a little bit more of a pain. Because you kind of have to have it lined up exactly. While some like SH Figuarts figures and stuff like that, the joint will stick out a little bit farther. While these are more inlaid. That in this hand, a little bit more stiff than the other. But getting it in there, you just want to make sure to go straight into the forearm to not apply pressure onto the joint sideways. But now we have MechaGodzilla shooting his missiles, which is cool, I guess. I don't think I'm actually going to be posing him with those. I'll probably just stick with the actual normal hands.
Just cut his fingertips off.
That's kind of it. Well, they had to add the detail to like indent it. But for the most part, yeah, it's just the hand snipped. They drilled a little bit on the inside and then mass-produced it. And then moving in for a closer look at MechaGodzilla's details, head sculpt looks pretty good. I like all the rivets on the side of the head. You got some translucent plastic there for the eyes, which looks really nice. You have his little nozzle nose on the front section, his ruby red little ears on the side here, and that little trademark horn on the front section here. And then when you open up his mouth, he has his two missiles on the inside, which is very correct for the kaiju. And then some metallic silver here for the teeth. One thing I noticed though when articulating this, and I'll bring this up now, is you kind of want to make sure to take your time and get the teeth to line up when you want to close it. Because you just try to just instantly shut it, you're going to get the teeth kind of rubbing. And I'm kind of afraid that over time that's going to weather the paint around his teeth. So just make sure to take your time with this guy when articulating his mouth.
Or just don't articulate at all.
Well, that defeats the point of having an articulated figure if you're not going to articulate
What,
it.
articulated figure with no fingertips and has crappy movements in his arms and his leg?
We haven't gotten there yet. You're spoiling it for everyone. But moving down the rest of his body, the neck looks pretty good. The only thing that kind of throws me off is like the top of the neck is a little bit wider than the head. Because this all should be the same size. But for the articulation, it's a little bit wider at the base. Which I don't mind, because to help with the articulation, it's a little exaggerated. I get it. Again, we'll move into a part of this kaiju where that's not really fixed. But yeah, so you get a decent range of motion with the head, but again, we'll get back to that. But detailing for the neck, very nice. Got some more rivets on the side. And I like to, like at the shoulder, like the plastic here looks very weathered and banged up. Kind of like what you'd see on the suit, which is really cool to see. You see it on both sides. It's not a very clean cut, which I actually really like there. And same with the paint, is not the cleanest silver like you'd see on, say, the MechaGodzilla from the Heisei series or Kiryu. Because for the most part with the original suit, it was just like spray painted silver. So it doesn't have like the cleanest little finish, which I really like to see on this guy too.
You know, when you just moved him up, I noticed he has a belt with a yellow thing down there.
Yeah, you never noticed that on that?
No.
Reviewing the X pluses and such. And there's a little nub there. There's a little yellow nub on the top section of his chest as well.
About, look, it looks just like a belt that goes all the way around.
And you got like the cuff link or
never noticed that
whatever on the front. Yeah, it's got a little belt. And then some more rivets going around the kaiju's body. Going on the side. You got his tiny little dorsal spines. 3 plated sections, which is really cool. This giant one at the end of the tail, which is actually articulated too, to help with the tail articulation. So you don't have to worry about snapping that bad boy off. And that's one of the nice things too, is like the paint doesn't have to really be perfect on this guy, because even if it's like a little bit screwed up here or there, you're not going to really notice. Because for instance, like on the tail here, there's a little bit like excess paint. Not a big deal, because that's kind of the way the suit looked. This side looks pretty clean though. Looking at, and then the tail you have here with its segmenting sections and only having what appears to be 4 actual joints. Oh, I guess 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joints. Looks nice though. Moving down to his legs, where you got those super deadly little knee pads there, which also shot missiles, if I do remember correctly. It's been a few since I watched the movie.
Shot missiles.
Yeah, it's just guy. Well, yeah, he's just a walking gun pretty much. Then his 3-toed feet on the bottom section. And overall, oh yeah, I forgot. He also has that little MG on his arm there as well. And then moving on to his articulation, because you'll see a few more little minute details there. But for his head, can look straight up if you want it to. And then you can articulate it to look about there. The neck can move. The only thing that seems weird when I was doing photos with this guy is that when moving his neck, it seems to kind of come into contact with his shoulder pads. As you can see there, like me moving the neck, it's starting to shift that guy a little bit. So be a little wary there. But the neck can go forward and back, a little bit side to side.
That's for the flying mode, right?
Well, this is just so you can look around, because you just want it straight up. That's how you fly. Like, bam, fly mode.
That is weird.
But you get some articulation here at the neck. Now, controversial part, for his shoulders. This is just a piece of plastic. There's a joint in on the inside. Now, he also has 4 little plastic sheets that are right here, which kind of replicate that little vacuum hose appearance that you've seen on MechaGodzilla. Which, actually, you want to grab me that Bandai vinyl behind me? Look at this guy. This is kind of the effect that they're going with. Now, it's actually bigger than his arm. Well, the Bandai vinyl, it's smaller, which I kind of wish they would have went that route. And to be honest, I kind of wish that was just one solid plastic piece right here. Because when you articulate them, if I were to keep going upwards, that's going to come into contact with this piece of plastic, and I could possibly snap these things. Now, you can kind of take your time with it, and you can move his arm, but trying to be fast about it, I get really nervous with those little plates there. And the other issue is you can also get these things stuck behind his shoulder, which is a strange thing too. I guess there's a way of getting this thing off, and then you can fix it that way if you do get plates to actually hide behind there. Because as you can see right there, I only have 3 showing. The other one is right there. And how I fix that problem, bringing my hand up, I just noticed I got a little dirt on my finger, but whatever. You can kind of get the joint to pop back in on the arm, because all it is here is like a little nub that kind of keeps them in, but they can pop off of it real easy. And you just kind of articulate it around. You kind of just start fudging around until you can get it back on that joint. And now it's not wanting to cooperate with me. So when that happens, you can try to work it back onto the joint and pop it back out. But for the most part, you're probably going to have to pop the shoulder joint off if you want to fix it. But if I was going to pop it off, I would probably just remove these things in general. Because all they're really doing is just hindering the movement here. Because now I'm afraid to work that more and possibly break these things. And it has the same thing for the knees, but the knees aren't as big a concern because there's just nowhere for them to go. While here, they have places they can shift into. And what I would have liked to have seen is like what they did here at the elbow. Same effect, but it's a part of the joints. They should have done that with the shoulder here. So now, I got a articulated figure that I'm afraid to move its shoulders around in order to pose it. And even like the elbow joints here aren't even that. Like this is as far as it moves. That's all the range of motion you got. You got NECA kaiju articulation there. So fancy. And it could also rotate here at the elbow, so you can get a decent bend once you get it in there. But it's just moving it around is a bit frustrating, and then you got to worry about the silver rubbing. So that's a thing. But for the shoulders, technically, this one is probably the best one for me to show you. But he can move backwards about that far. Forward. About there. That's what I'm feeling. Up about that far. Downwards about that far. And again, I'm just taking my time. You can also rotate it at the top of the shoulder. Hands can rotate all the way around. You can pivot a little bit. For his stomach, you can go backwards about that far. Forwards about that far. Decent range of motion. Can rotate almost, oh maybe. Yeah, you can rotate it all the way around. For his legs, can go outwards about that far. Inwards about that far. Pretty good forward kick though. Like again, like here, it's all one solid piece. Why couldn't we have that there? I don't get it. I just don't. Like that should have just been all one joint, and then they could just put the ball joint in there. Maybe it would have hindered the motion a little bit there, but whatever. For the knees, a little bit of a bend. Rotation at the knee. You also have your rotation here at the top part of the thigh. Feet can rotate a little bit forward and back. And shift up and down. And for the tail, can shimmies about that far. Side to side. Upwards about that far. And downwards about that far. And for some quick comparisons, here we have the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla compared to some other SH MonsterArts that are mainly sitting down in my basement. With the Super MechaGodzilla with Garuda attachment and Shin Godzilla.
That is a sad comparison, Steve.
I don't mind the scale as much, even though technically he'd be like half MechaGodzilla size. But it works pretty well for me. But he has a smaller figure compared next to these other ones. And here's compared next to some Bandai vinyls of the 1975 Godzilla and the Bandai Creation MechaGodzilla.
But Steve, you need 74 Godzilla up there.
It's kind of the same. Yeah.
1 year older makes a lot of difference.
I think this one's actually considered the 74. He's the wrong Godzilla.
No, I was talking about the Godzilla.
Well, I don't have a 70. Well, I have one, but it's that ugly bank.
It don't matter. People want to see it.
And here's some more Bandai vinyls with the Monster Island, King Caesar, and Angerus. And here's with the Sophie Spirits Raijin and the Robot Spirits Gypsy Avenger from Pacific Rim Uprising. And here's some NECA action figures with the 24-inch long 2014 Godzilla and the Crimson Typhoon from Pacific Rim. So overall, the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 1974, this figure's eh.
I am personally having a hard time meriting myself paying $100+ for this guy.
Yeah, because you run you 95-ish. Like, you can get him a little cheaper shipping him internationally, but he's a pretty hefty price tag. For an SH MonsterArts that's smaller than most of the other ones. Granted, he does come with some accessories, but his articulation's a huge negative on this guy.
Why is it every time they do something, it's like always the opposite? They make an amazing figure with no accessories, like no beams or anything like that. And then they make a figure like him, he comes with a beam, but he himself just sucks. Why is it so hard to get it right?
Yeah, because like with the previous one we did being the 2017, which I thought was a really standout figure.
Yeah.
Cheaper, it's bigger. Granted, it doesn't come with anything, but the figure itself had literally zero problems. Maybe it could add a little more paint. Well, this guy, in terms of detail, I feel like is a little bit more standout than that figure. But with the way they set up the articulation and the lackluster stand he comes with, I can't really recommend him.
No.
To be honest, especially at the price tag. Now, if you're like a hardcore collector of SH MonsterArts, you're going to buy this guy no matter what. No matter what I tell you. But if you're just kind of on the fence and looking for a pretty cool looking MechaGodzilla figure, I would just spend a little bit extra, because you're already spending $100. Just spend the extra 50 and just get the X plus 30 centimeter. It's a great looking figure, looks nice. They have all the kaijus for the movie, well, the 75 movie, that you can pick up to go along with it. Well, this guy, it's even debatable if we're going to get a Godzilla to go along with him.
I don't think they will, man.
It's a maybe.
Not a lot of people will be happy with this guy, that's for sure.
But if you guys are still going to be picking up this figure, I just highly recommend that you just take your time when articulating this guy. Which is not something that's a positive for an articulated figure. But what do you guys think? If you guys picked up the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla, what's your favorite SH Monsters figure? Is Mulgira just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. A little closer picture of this guy on our Facebook. You want to click the link in the description below. We also have a Patreon account with exclusive prints for the channel, also down in the description. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
So, yes, seem to be doing pretty bad there.
Shut up, Steve. That guy just got lucky.
Nah, I'm pretty sure he just quick-scoped you, buddy.
No, he got lucky. I would like to see him do it again.
Hey, look, he did it again.
This son of a...
Hey guys, welcome back to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve, and today we're going over the Bandai Tamashii Nation SH MonsterArts Kiryu, also known as MechaGodzilla or the MFS3 Multi-Purpose Fighting System. This is the version of Kiryu that you've seen from Godzilla against MechaGodzilla that came out in 2002. Which, personally for me, I really love this mold of MechaGodzilla. It's definitely not my favorite, but I still think it's a really cool look for him nonetheless. I like it better than the Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla from the 90s, but not quite as much as the one from Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla from the 70s. So I just love that one, because that's just one I grew up with as a kid. I also love the whole dome head laser thing and him getting his head ripped off. Like, that was just really sweet movies. But we're here to talk about Kiryu. This was actually a figure that my wife decided to pick up because I was actually waiting to get the one that is going to be coming out, which is the one from Godzilla vs. Tokyo SOS. But she really liked the blue coloring on the missile pods and everything, so we decided to go with this one. And I've had this for a little bit, and as you see, it's currently not on the packaging. But just decided to go over this figure with you guys just as a little bit of a thank you for how great the 24-inch long Godzilla 2014 has been going. Especially with the few subscribers that I got and how fast the views have been going up. I just really appreciate you guys actually sitting down and watching my videos. I also really like talking with you guys in the comments because I'm very thankful that the majority of the people that have been commenting are very civil and very appreciative and supporting of this channel. And I just really appreciate you guys for that. So this is a little bit of a thank you for that. So for the packaging, I really love the whole clear plastic down here, was that it looks like it's kind of slashed on the front. I really love it when they actually decide to do that with the packaging. Then you get a nice image of the toy on the side here. It also has the trademark for MechaGodzilla down here, and it was 2013. Then for the side, a little bit more of that slash and just more of the name right there. For the top, more of the slash with MechaGodzilla across here. Then for the side, you get a nice front profile shot of him with more MechaGodzilla in case you forgot what you were looking at. And for the bottom of the packaging, I just imagine there's a lot of Lego mumbo jumbo. And then for the back, it shows you his accessories that he comes with. And he also comes with 3 separate eyes that you get attached to him, which is pretty sweet, but I still don't actually really officially know what the one is, but we'll get into that in a minute. But you get a lot of nice poses with him on the back of this, so it's a very nice display for this figure. And that's pretty much it for the box. Let's get him open up. Well, sorry, he's already opened up. Let's just get into him. So first we're going to go over his accessories, which he comes with 2 of these skull caps, which help to, in the film, he has a lot of different eye colors for his different moods, which one of them is the Berserk eyes, which I think look really nice, and have been the way I've been displaying them myself. Because you can see here, it's got this nice orange paint for the eyes, and it still has like the nice clear plastic covering it up, so it gives the illusion of it being actually like robotic, which looks nice. And then for the top, it has the silver paint here, which looks really great. And then for the other one, it's just this normal yellow, which looks a little bit odd because the ones that are in there are also yellow, which I'm assuming that one of them is for like with pilot and one is like without the pilot in it. And how you attach them on, just like I show you guys his other eyes. Because the ones that I got in, you can see there's a little bit of the lines going down for his eyes. While on this one, it has no such lines. So that's the only major difference between them. And then what you want to do is just grab it by the little top here, and you lift up, pop it off. You'll see right here, there's a little slot for the peg. And then here's the peg that you want to insert into it. Just plop it in there, push it down firmly, and now you have him in berserk mode. It's going to wreck everything. And then setting him back down. He also comes with his thruster pack, which looks amazing. Like, I love the amount of detail on this thing. Like, for the front, you have the rocket launching pads, which look really nice. Have the 6 slots in there for each of them. Then up top, it's got like the little guiding system or whatever you want to call it, but it looks sweet. And then here's more of the missiles that fire out the side. Thrusters on the bottom look very nice. No real articulation on these things, but just the amount of detail is splendid. Like, even like all the little grates in there, everything like that's sweet. And also it's a little bit articulated, so you can also move the cannons down if you want. And I'll show you guys in just a second how to attach it onto Kiryu himself. But it looks really nice. And he also comes with 2 of these little blades that he uses to stab Godzilla and produce the electricity into him, or redirect electricity to him. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But they have this nice silver paint on them, and they turned out really nice. I'm trying to get the camera not to fuzz up on me. But they have a nice blade to them too, and just overall pretty nice knives. Same with this, nothing too different. Which attached to his laser cannons that go on his arms, which also have a lot of really nice details on them. And then underneath is pretty plain, but you're not going to really be seeing that. And then got this nice little wire cable, which I wouldn't try to play with too much because I worry a bit that this would eventually fracture from stress. So just be a little wary of that when you're playing with it, that this is a very delicate figure and has a lot of parts that I would be a little bit afraid to break. But what's really cool is that for his laser cannons, they can also extend outward, which is really nice, and I love the attention to detail for that. And then pushing them back in. And then if you want to insert the knives into these, you'll see right here, there's a little hole there where the bottom of the blade goes into. And all you do is just put it in there and just push down, and bam, got the knife. And then do the same for this one. Just set it in there, push down, really easy to do. And we'll start by attaching this onto Kiryu, which you'll see right here, there's a circular peg. All you gotta do is for his arm, there's the hole right there. You just push it into there. Really easy to do. Stays in very nice. And then for his wire, which I'll pop off real quick for you guys. Right here, you'll see there's this little nub coming out from underneath his elbow. Now what you're going to want to do is it's sometimes a little bit of a pain to get that out, and you might need a little bit of pliers to get them. Or just have a little bit longer nails than I do. But what you want to do is just kind of get your nail in there, and you just pull out the peg. And then you take the peg on the bottom of the wire here, and you just stick it right back in there. Then, again, just push that into the circle there. And that's pretty much it on attaching. Then you just move it down a little bit the center how you want. And show you guys the same on this arm. Just get your nail in there, pull on it a bit. Again, a little bit of a pain. There we go. Peg's out. Take the peg from the wire, push it into the hole. So be a little bit careful on the wire to not mess around with that too much. Put that into the circle hole for the armor joint. Then you got his laser cannons, which look very nice on him, which also help to complement the thruster pack. Which, how you want to get this on is there's a few parts you got to remove here on his back of his dorsal fins, which one's right up here, and all you got to do is just wiggle it a bit to pull it out. And then right here on the side, this one comes out. And this one right here also comes out. So, it should look like that when you're done. And then you take your thruster pack, and it has 3 little pegs right here. You'll see there's a tiny peg there, and the 2 of these, and they just slot into the holes you just made by removing the dorsal fins. It's really easy to get in there. Here are a couple of popping sounds. And once you get in, it stays in there very nice and secure. And then you just fold the cannons down. And there you have Kiryu in his full arsenal glory. Which, again, looks really nice on him. And I just love that it comes with that and all the accessories. Really helps with, especially with his price tag of, when I picked him up, he was around $100. So it's really nice that he comes with this stuff, because with the original MechaGodzilla, I really wish that it would have included Garuda, the flying ship that attaches to his back. But that was a separate thing that you had to pick up by itself, and I missed out on it, so I don't have it. And I'm just really glad that Kiryu came with everything that he needed. And then bringing in Kiryu to show off his details a little bit, which this guy has a ton. Like, personally, the head sculpt on this guy is just, to quote Diego here, fantastic. Like, I just love this thing. And he's got his maser cannons that are in his mouth, and overall the teeth here, I love how they're very realistic with the bone whiteness of the teeth. They look really awesome and just help to show off that he was made from Godzilla bones, which is a really cool idea. And I love how they got like the vent, like the wire work coming down here. And overall, even right here, you can see the, what I'm going to call the vacuum tube coming down the side of his neck. Which, one thing I will say for you guys is, if you pop the head off, just try not to do that, because this little part, you have to get it back into the hole here when you dislocate the head. And it's a bit of a pain to do. So just keep that in mind if you guys do end up getting this figure. Or even, they have another version of the Kiryu from Tokyo SOS coming out. So I'm sure the mold's going to be somewhat similar to this one, so it might have that little bit of problem too. But again, the silver paint on here is just amazing. Overall, gives him a very nice shine to him. Oh yeah, I gotta put those back on. Just a sec. Alright, so now that I'm not messing up this figure, overall the dorsal fins on him look really nice, and I love the sharp edges on here. Looks really cool. Same with his thruster packs that are on the back of his shoulder blades. They look very nice. And one thing that's really cool too is that these are articulated. So you can get them pretty much in the position that you want. If you want to have like the thrusters coming to the side. And this one's not cooperating. But it's on a little bit of a peg joint, so you can rotate a bit and then get it to move around. So that is a really nice touch, and I love that. And then for the front of his chest, you can see here has the MFS3. This looks really nice. And also, for his absolute zero cannon, the chest you can actually open up. And if I had a little bit longer nails, it'd be easier. But each of these 3 panels pull out. And there you have the absolute zero, which looks really nice. Overall, I just love the way it's looking. And one thing that would have been pretty cool, especially with how they have the Dragon Ball Z figures, is having maybe the orb from the absolute zero came with this figure for like the effect. Or even just having the Dragon Ball Z figures to be able to replicate that move that he did. Just, that would have been a really nice thing to have with this figure, but again, I'm super happy that he came with these, so just one minor little nitpick. And then just to show out the rest of his body, I really love the way the legs turn out too, especially with these cool kneecaps here. And then his feet. And then another thing too is you wouldn't notice it right off the bat, but here on the legs they have a hidden thruster underneath this panel. Again, gotta get your nails in there. And when you pop it out, there's the thruster. Also the thruster is articulated and goes side to side, which is really awesome. And then just to get it out on this side too. Again, a bit of a pain if you don't have nails. Use this nail maybe. Nope, not working either. There we go. Again, articulated thruster, so you have him going to the back if you want to have him in his flighty pose, which looks really nice. And it's just, again, attention to the detail that you only really get with the SH MonsterArts line. And then for his tail here, again, each of these segments are fully articulated, except for it stops right here, but then it's pretty much here, and then each of the segments coming down all the way up to here are all articulated, which is really nice. Really good range of motion here. Also come up. Pretty much that far down. It's just one thing that I've just been always super impressed with the SH MonsterArts line is just overall the just amount of segmented joints. And especially on him, it all looks like it's supposed to be there. And it probably helps a lot that he has very robotic features, because then the gapping just isn't noticeable because it's covered up by a lot of this armor here. But for his articulation, for his head, move up, down, left, right. Mouth can move up and down, which is really good. For his shoulders, his arms can move up about that far, rotate all the way around. Has a double joint at the elbow, which is really great. Also rotate at the elbow. Hands on a ball joint. Rotate around. Got a little bit of playability with that. His chest here has a little bit of articulation. Also, at least on mine, this segment right here, it's extremely loose on here, which actually helps a lot with the articulation because, again, you can get them going pretty good to the sides. His back crunch isn't quite that great. Same with his fore crunch, again, about that much of movement, and then I gotta set that back in there. And then for his legs, can move about that far out, that much in, back about that far. You can see again with the vacuum tube, it's kind of moving around, which is really sweet. And I just love these little details on these guys. Just kind of makes this feel a little bit more lifelike. And then go forward about that much. Again, that far back. His knees on a double joint, which actually has a really nice bend to it. No real rotation here. And then at the feet, can move up and down. Nice pivot here. I think it's on a ball joint. Yeah, it's on a ball joint. And then it also has a little bit of articulation here at the top part of his feet, which is really sweet. And then, again, for the tail, move whichever way you want. So his articulation's really nice. The overall amount of detail on this figure is just stellar. And one other thing to point out is for the die cast, from my understanding, it's right here on the chest plates here. And then for the bottom of his feet are also all made out of die cast. So, and double checking just to make sure I'm not missing anything. I don't feel any more coldness. I think that's pretty much it. Here for some quick comparisons, here's Kiryu compared next to the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2000 and Mothra, because this is literally the closest comparison we have right now to Tokyo SOS. And here he is compared next to the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla 2. And here he is compared next to the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 1964, because that would be a fair fight. And here he is compared next to the NECA's Godzilla 1994 and the Godzilla 2014. And here he is compared next to the Bandai's American Vinyl Kiryu, which is about 12 inches tall. So overall, Kiryu here, I'm very happy that I have this figure in my collection. His overall amount of detail is amazing, his articulation is awesome, and the amount of accessories that he comes with just really blows him out of the water in comparison to a lot of the other SH MonsterArts figure. And when I picked him up at $100, I really thought he was worth it. And with the new Kiryu coming out at around, I believe it's 130. If you guys missed out on this version of Kiryu, I would really look into picking up that version of the figure because it's from Tokyo SOS. So his thruster packs will be a little bit different, and his pretty much the accessories are just going to change on him. And then his Absolute Zero cannon is just pretty much his triple mazer cannon, I do believe that's what it's called. Plus he comes with like a battle damaged eye and everything, so that's going to actually be a really cool figure. And for the price, I personally think it's worth it. So what do you guys think? Are you guys a big fan of Kiryu? Do you have this figure in your collection, or do you guys just like your MechaGodzillas being from space? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have closer pictures of them on Facebook if you want to click the link in the description below. Please don't be afraid to share this video around, and if you like this and want to see more stuff like this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. You got one job, Steve. That is to not fudge up the video.
Alright, MechaGodzilla, I'm sorry to say, but I gotta put you back in your cardboard prison.
But why? You said I never go back into there.
I know, I'm sorry, but we're probably gonna be moving here sometime in the near future, and it's just a good idea to start boxing you guys up so that you don't get hurt.
Wait, this isn't about that new MonsterArts Super MechaGodzilla.
But whatever do you mean?
Are you planning to sell me and replace me with that?
No, I would never do that to you, MechaGodzilla. You're one of my favorites. You're just getting boxed up so that I can move you. And that's it.
So you're not selling me?
No, I'm not selling you. So it's just put you back in the box and I'll get you out eventually.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
It's not that dark. There's actually clear plastic there. It's okay. I'm just going to put you back in there. But, I might be leaving your accessories out.
Wait, what did you just say?
Shh, just turn your head so I can close you up. I'm just gonna leave the accessories out because I need to keep them for the other figure. Here, God, stop fighting around in there. It makes this kind of difficult to close. Whew, alright. Where did I put that shipping box? Hey Rangers, welcome to Super Report Reviews. My name's Steve, and today we're going over the Bandai Tamashii Nation SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla and the UX0192 Garuda effect set. Now, this has actually been a review I've had a crap ton of requests for, especially now that got this little bad boy here to do the effect set with. And been kind of putting off, been wanting to try to get this guy out for you guys. But now that Tamashii has unveiled that they are going to be releasing these guys together in the near future, it's early next year, decided to be a pretty good time to try to get this guy's review out. So if you guys were interested in pre-ordering the two sets, you mostly are going to get what you're going to see in this video, minus the effects other than the Garuda. Because what you're going to be getting out of the new MonsterArts set is just MechaGodzilla, Garuda, and an extra pair of hands with a brighter color scheme and brighter yellow eyes. Also have some updated articulation. But this review would primarily just be here just so you guys, in case you wanted the older ones, you got the review for what I think about it. And also for the one that's going to be coming out, you'll have a better understanding of what to expect with the figure when it comes in. But if you guys don't know who MechaGodzilla is, he is from the film Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla. Some of you might know as Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla 2 from the Heisei era, which this is my favorite MechaGodzilla out of the bunch. I just really love the design for this one. Granted, I think the Showa movies are a little bit better. Well, at least Terra MechaGodzilla. But I still really love Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla, and it was actually one of my more favorite ones when I was a kid. So without further ado, for his packagings, starting with MechaGodzilla's, you get an image of MechaGodzilla's head ripped straight from the film. It tells you that it comes with his effects set. MechaGodzilla Bandai Tamashii Nation came out in 2011. Top of the packaging, not too much other than MechaGodzilla, some clear plastic. Also get the nice translucent plastic on the front so you could see the figure if I still had it on the inside. Other side, MechaGodzilla. Opposite side, you get MechaGodzilla with shiny metallic blue and a nice little black and white image of him in the center there. And on the back, you get MechaGodzilla in some dynamic poses. Bunch of stuff I can't understand, some legal mumbo jumbo. And for Garuda, a crap ton of metallic silver, and it looks like Garuda comes in a briefcase. I'm not really sure what this was actually supposed to be replicating, because you think it'd be kind of cool to look like a docking bay or something, but this is what we get. Yeah, a nice little image of the Garuda in the center here with the G, some kanjis. More Bandai Tamashii Nation came out in 2012. Bandai Collection Shop exclusive. On the side, more of the same. Opposite side, still the same. Top, for the back, more metallic, but you actually get the Mecha G, which actually looks pretty cool. Bunch more stuff I can't understand. And some, got some mumbo jumbos right there. So let's get into this review. Alright, so now that we got these guys opened up out of the cardboard prisons, first we're going to go over MechaGodzilla and his accessories. Which, for starters, he comes with a pair of karate chop hands. Which, I actually have the accessory hands on him right now because I was doing photos and having them fly around. So these are the hands I put on him for that, but he also has this elbow pad that really likes to fall out. But these hands are primarily for what I like to use for the tasers because then they're not cupping and it kind of looks cool if I'm pointing. And also for his flight mode, which the sculpt on him is really nice, done in this metallic silver with some black lining for the details for the little bendable sections for the fingers. Looks really nice overall. And then he also comes with a pair of slightly relaxed hands, which they just are bending a little bit on the inside. Have the same details as what we have with the flat karate chop hands. And how you get these onto MechaGodzilla is you're going to want to pull out straight from the forearm. And on mine, it's a little bit tight, but it's not super hard to do. So you just want to make sure that the hand's straight, lining up with the forearm. And then you just pull outward. Good to go. Grab the hand accessory you want to swap out with. Then you're going to want to go straight into the forearm, just pretty much the exact opposite as what we just did. Then just push it on. This is where it gets kind of hard and scary. There we go. And just show you guys real quick what they look like attached onto the MechaGodzilla. Overall, I actually prefer these hands a little bit more, or generally the ones I have posing with MechaGodzilla. But still cool that they gave us this little option. Something I could have seen them easily leaving out, so greatly appreciate it. And then he also comes with this extra neck piece, which what this does is allow MechaGodzilla to go into flight mode, which what you're going to want to do is pop off the head. And the easiest way to do this is you're going to want to just pull straight out from the joint. You notice that it goes out a little bit at an angle, but primarily I just found it easy just to, you lift upward, comes off pretty good. And then you're going to want to grab the base of the neck. Generally, I try to fit my fingers right around here where there's this little lifted metal plate. And then you just pull upward, pop it out. Pretty easy to do. And then you just attach the little ball joint into the slotted hole on the neck here. And there you go. Then you just grab your MechaGodzilla head, if I can find the right one. Insert it onto the peg here. Bam! This still kind of looks goofy to me. Because, I just really don't like that this little metallic piece is slotted to the front. It just kind of looks goofy. And it always kind of has. Like, I really wish that there was maybe some way to slide this little metal piece down. Because the way it sits right now, there's that huge gap on the undersection of the head. And I really don't like it. It doesn't look that bad from front angles, but from the side, oh. And to finish our MechaGodzilla transformation, he also comes with a extra tail that is slightly more straightened and not bent like the MechaGodzilla tail we have on here. Which how you swap it out is you just literally pull straight out from the tail, because you guys will see that it's actually hooked into a little clamp here. And there's a little beam on the inside of the tail. You just line up the beam with the little clamp here, push it on, and now we have MechaGodzilla in full flight mode. And you just gotta bend his feet a little bit back. Good to go, which overall, really cool. I wish it came with some way of actually being able to hold him into flight position, but it's still a really nice option for the figure, especially if you get a little bit ingenuitive to get him into this pose. Definitely something to work with, and with the new Super MechaGodzilla, another option to have this guy displayed on your shelf next to him. And then next we have MechaGodzilla's Mega Buster Ray, which actually is pretty sweet looking. I really love the translucent plastic that they used, with the piece that goes into MechaGodzilla's mouth being in a very light baby blue color. And then the beam that's going to be ejecting outward is actually transitions from a more green to a light yellow, and then into a pink at the tip of the beam, which overall looks pretty cool. And how you insert this into MechaGodzilla's mouth is you literally just open his mouth, you line it up, and you just stick it in there. Good to go. The one thing I kind of wish that it had was a little bit more of an elongation, and it was shaped a little bit more appropriately to fit inside of MechaGodzilla's mouth. Because right now, you can see a little bit of that added gap. Looking at it from front angles though, actually looks really good though. It's just pretty much if you're going to have him sitting on yourself from the side, you're going to have a little bit of unsightliness. But then again, it might be a little bit hard to get that actually shaped appropriately, because you do have his two little tubes at the back section of the mouth, which if this had a pointed end to is generally going to have a little bit of contact with that. So You win some, you lose some here. And then I also want to point out the undersection of the Mega Buster here. You also have a little piggle here for his own articulated stand, which I actually think is pretty sweet because you do get a different base than what you get with some of the other ones, like grabbing Garuda's real quick, which I'll just show you his accessory right now. Garuda just comes with a flat plastic base that's translucent plastic with the nice MechaGodzilla emblem on the inside with the UNGCC on the top right there, and its own little articulated arm to hook onto it. Which with this one you get an articulated arm and a little bit of a rocky base, which looks really cool. It's done in overall a camo green color scheme. On the bottom here, nothing too much going on. But what I really like is it gives it a little bit more variety and a little bit of action going on in front of your MechaGodzilla when you have him doing the Mega Buster. And then just to show you guys with it attached real quick. And then actually I'll just hook into the MechaGodzilla too while I'm at it. Alright, so we have him here doing his Mega Buster Ray, which overall again looks really cool. Love the stand. The only thing I do want to point out is getting it back out of your mouth. Click up. There we go. Thank you. Is that when you're moving this around sometimes, at least on my stand, it tends to pop out really easily on there. So you're going to want to be, when you're articulating it, keeping it low to the base, because once you start moving it around, it pops out pretty easy if you want to be a little bit higher. So just want to give you guys a little bit of heads up in that regard. Now what's cool about this accessory too is you can use it to replicate his final move and his final accessory, which is his belly accessory for his plasma grenade, which overall looks pretty decent. Love the metallic silver, the replicate Godzilla's or MechaGodzilla's paint job. And then you have the plasma grenade here on the front, which what this was when MechaGodzilla got pelted with enough of Godzilla's atomic blast, he would absorb the energy and discharge it through his belly button. Weird, I know. But he would discharge the energy that was built up in him through the little lens right here. So it generally looked like that. And then it would go into Godzilla, which you can imagine causes a crap ton of damage. Now, for the details for this, I kind of wish that they maybe done a little bit more, because you can see here it's just some gunmetal plastic over a little bit of detail to help kind of replicate the lens. I actually really wish they were to use some translucent plastic right there. I think that would actually be really cool. And from what I've seen on the one that's coming out, I think they actually solved that problem. I'll have to double check. Yep, they did. But anyways, how you get this onto MechaGodzilla, which actually for first time people, if you never disassembled a figure, could actually be a little bit scary. But how you essentially attach it is you're going to want to pop him off at the waist. So you're just going to want to lift him straight up. Pop him off the ball joint on the waist. You bend his abdomen down, and then you just pull off the plate right here. You just go straight out, really easy to do. And then you just line up the peg holes, which you're going to want to have the flat section be on the bottom. You peg that in. Now you got him doing his plasma grenade, and you just attach it back onto the ball joint here. Really easy to do. You'll feel it pop in once you get it on. And then one thing to also be careful with too is on the back here, you got to worry about the plate right here, or the dorsal spines, because this is actually removable and it can come into contact with the back section here. So again, just a little bit of a heads up when popping that on. So once you get it on, looks really cool overall. Now we have him doing his plasma grenade, but I don't usually have him displayed with this because lately it's pretty much just been Garuda just chilling on his back. But it's still a really cool option, and it's one of the more iconic things that he did from the movie. So it's really cool to see this in an accessory. And then briefly just to go over his details real quick so we can get into Garuda. But for his head sculpt, looks really awesome. Really like all the details and all the little intricate designs that you have on the side of his head. His eyes are more of a orange shade with some translucent plastic over top of it. Looks really cool. Does replicate the movie pretty nicely. His mouth does articulate, and he has some very nice teeth, all sculpted very well. You got his Mega Buster barrels on the inside of his mouth. Look awesome. His neck looks really good too, where you got his little missile launchers on the top of his shoulder. Chest plates look nice, got some vents on the undersection of his boob. And something I just really loved about this MechaGodzilla is the overall appearance of this one. Because for the most part, he's probably the least Godzilla looking out of all the MechaGodzilla, which is something I can really get behind. Because it was neat to see a new version of MechaGodzilla that kind of had his own individual characteristics that kind of transitioned him away from Godzilla, but enough here where you look at it and you go, okay, that's Godzilla. And to me, he always just seemed a little bit more realistic. Like, if you were actually going to make a mech to fight a giant monster, like Pacific Rim style, this is something I would imagine would happen. And speaking of, for his dorsal spine's a little bit shorter than what you expect to see on a replica of Godzilla, but it is one of his very key trademarks is his short 3-row dorsal spines. And you have one little dorsal spine at the top portion of his neck, and then it transitions to the 3 all the way down to his tail. And for his tail, it has a little bit more of a curve, which is really cool. It's really nice to it. And on my figure is pretty much his stand. Because for mine's legs, this leg right here is super, super loose on mine. I even tried doing the little trick that I showed you guys to help with the articulation there, but it didn't really work for this one because for his legs, he has a ton of die casts. Because he has some right here on his waist, the black section here. Same with the black section for the back of his knee. For the black sections on his elbow are die cast. And also his feet are die cast. So there's a lot of weight going on the legs here. Which is cool because he does hold a very nice base to him. But it doesn't really help with the articulation here at all though. Because you can see even keeping it upright. This one actually holds a pose pretty well for this leg. It's just even outwards, it's not going to really do much. So, legs-wise, he's probably one of the more nicely articulated figures. Like, there's a lot of articulation going on his feet and legs. But, because of the weight, it kind of hinders how you're going to have him pose in your shelf, which is a bit of a bummer. But the legs are detailed very nicely. Same with the nice metallic silver paint for his entire legs. Really like the intricate details where you get a little more of those vent works on it. Knee pads look really nice. And also his feet. I actually really like his feet still being die cast though. I still think that's a pretty cool option overall. And they still hold a lot of that detail. And you can even see a little bit on the under pad of the foot. And his 4 toes on the front section here look really good. And I don't know why we are ending on his arms, but his arms do have a little vent on the top section. His port for his shock anchors on his forearm looks really good. Hands, again, look awesome. Really like the hands on this guy. Then on his back, too, you also have his thrusters, which, sadly, no details on the inside of them, which is a bit of a bummer. Maybe we would have just seen some black plastic on the inside of it. Would have been really cool. But he does have his 4 on the back, which you have 2 on the back portion of his shoulders and 2 on the back portion of his thighs. For his articulation, his head can rotate all the way around, but there is no real articulation for his head other than that. His mouth can move up and down, nothing too crazy, because they decided not to really add any joints to go forward and back. Like, he has a little bit there, but nothing to really talk about. It's just mainly rotation. For his shoulders, can go up about that far, which isn't very crazy. Down about that far. Can rotate all the way around. Nice bend at the elbow. No real rotation at the elbow. For his hand, can rotate all the way around, and also has a little bit of a pivot to it. For his waist, can look a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Can go up about that far, down about that far. So, nothing too crazy. It's mainly a rotation here as well. For the most part, MechaGodzilla is going to be looking straight and upright. For his legs, can go forward about that far, backwards about that far. You can pretty much get him to go all the way around if you really wanted to. A little bit of rotation at the upper portion of the thigh. Nothing really at the knee, but has a decent bend at the knee. And then for his foot, can pivot up and down, can also adjust forward and back, rotate side to side, and has a little bit of a wobble to it. And nothing at the tail. For the details for Garuda, really freaking amazing for this. Really love the variety of colors you get with metallic silver here for the majority of the craft, with some gloss white and black work for the details. And you get so much intricate little designs. Like right there, you can see the G-force on both sides of the craft. You have the cockpit here, which looks really cool. On the back here, you get a little bit more of the black panel lining. And you can also see a little bit on the tip of the wings. Not too much going on the bottom, but there is a lot of molded detail there. Same with the barrels for Garuda's Maser cannons, which on the front, they actually have some translucent plastic here for... I'm not exactly sure what to call it. It's pretty much like the focal lens, where the Maser pretty much focus right there and then eject out of the barrel. And you got the little claws on the top section encompassing the lens. Looks pretty sweet overall. And there's a little bit of a more gunmetal spray wash over the barrel here. And you can even see a little bit more of a smoky color right here on the back portion of the cockpit, and some extra little parts throughout the Garuda. And one thing I really like about this guy too is the thrusters on the back here look awesome, and also have some translucent plastic here. Like the plasma grenade should have. You know what, I don't like these thrusters anymore. So the details are awesome, something you expect to see on the MonsterArts line. And it surprises me too just how small of a figure this is, just how much detail they molded in, and even with the paint job here to really make everything just pop. Overall looks freaking stellar. And then for the accessories for Garuda, what you can do is for these little lenses, you can actually pull them out, because he comes with his maser effects, which are super, super terrifying. But for the details for them, look really awesome, where you get this nice metallic blue going over the entirety of the beam. But you have the lens here too on the bottom, which has that same metallic blue, but clear plastic here for the portion that goes into Garuda. And then you also have this little plastic ramley just kind of wrapping around the beam, which really gives it an added effect, which looks really cool. But it's something I worry about if this gets yanked on a little bit too much, snapping off of the effect. Which, you do get 2 of them to put on each of the barrels, which how you attach them is you're just going to want to go straight into the barrel. Pretty easy to do. Just make sure when you're putting it in not to apply too much pressure to the side, because I really worry about the part that goes into the barrel snapping into it. And if that happens, you might have a bit of a problem trying to get that out. And I noticed on one barrel, it's really easy to get it in. The other one, not so much. And I tried swapping it out, and I get really worried about trying to twist it in. So this one, I'm not going to put in nearly as far. But you guys can still see the overall effect of what it's going to look like at the end, which it looks so good. Love that they included this little accessory for it, especially if you just want to have Garuda flying around, maybe chasing Fire Rodan, and having their little aerial dogfight. And it comes with the stand, but we already went over this. But how you attach it onto Garuda is there's a peg hole right on the under section of the craft. You just maybe push that up. Come on. Once you get it straightened up anyways, you peg it into the craft. And now you have Garuda flying around on his own. Which I overall love the effect, and it actually stays on the stand very nicely. So it's not something you really have to worry about. And then even if you have a problem with the stand being slightly loose and worrying about Garuda like face planting or going backwards, you can always tighten the screws here to make sure that it stays locked in place, which is something I really love about these stands in general. And then grab a MechaGodzilla real quick, because for Garuda's other accessory that doesn't involve Super MechaGodzilla, he comes with the shock anchors, which for the details, pretty much a wire, which at the end of the wires you get this little arrowhead which has metallic silver on it, a little bit of detail but nothing too crazy, which this is the part that would go into Godzilla to deliver the shock. And at the other end you just get this little silver bit that goes inside of MechaGodzilla's arm, which how you're going to want to have this is you're going to want to have the flat end going into the arm with the little lip here sticking upwards. And then we just grab MechaGodzilla, insert that into his forearm, which one side of my MechaGodzilla, really easy to get in. Other side, not so much. Which is something I've really noticed on this guy. And it might be mainly because this part has some added plastic there. But you pretty much just slide it in there. Be a little bit careful because you don't want to bend the wire too much, especially towards the tip. Because again, kind of worry about snapping it off. But overall, let's just get these stupid wires not to jiggle. Stop it. Stop it. Maybe. We're just gonna jiggly wires. Whew! And get back on track. Overall, love this little accessory and the inclusion of it. The only thing I always worry about these is once you start bending them, it's really hard to get that straightened back out. So that is something that can be a little bit of a concern. But pretty much replicates the film. The only other thing I would maybe have liked to have seen is some way of actually getting this to hook onto Godzilla. Might have been pretty neat outside of just sticking some sticky tack on the end of this and just peg it right into him. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to assemble Super MechaGodzilla. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove the plate here on the back first. Which what you're going to want to do is you just pull straight out from the back. And the easiest way for me is to put my thumb underneath the back plate here, and then my other finger resting on the top here. And then you just pull upward. On mine, it's a little bit stiff. So, got that to contend with. There we go. Pops off. You'll notice that there's just 2 little pegs that peg into the little peg holes here. because Garuda comes with this little accessory, which he's going to be resting on these 4 little pegs here. So you just line the 2 pegs with the 2 peg holes in the back, pop it in, and now we're pretty much done with MechaGodzilla here for a minute. And then for Garuda, we're going to turn him over, and you're going to want to take out these 3 little plates on the back here. So you just pull out this one first, which these are all pretty easy to do. And you just pretty much clasp your nail on the top and bottom here. Pull that up. And this one, you can pretty much just grab it from the bottom. Really easy to do. Slides up pretty well. And then you're going to want to take the ones that they come with, because these have the little grooves here to rest on MechaGodzilla. And then you're just going to want to make sure that the extended portion of this is going to be facing towards the back of the ship, because otherwise it's not going to want to peg in for you. And you just pop that in. And that's pretty much it for there. Alright, so next we're going to take the cockpit here, and what you're going to do is slide it down this little crevice right here. So what you do is you just pretty much just push on it. It slides up. Just be a little bit careful, because even on mine it likes to grip a little bit. Just apply a little bit of a pressure, and then once you get it to about here is where it's going to come to rest. Then we're going to take our Garuda and finally attach them to MechaGodzilla's back, which you'd have 4 pegs right here. Insert them into the 4 peg holes in the back of Garuda. Going to want to be a little bit careful, and you're going to want to go straight down onto the spines. And you just push down a little bit once you figure class. And now we got the full-on look, which is awesome. I also want to point out, this part for me kind of adjusts a little bit, which is a little weird. It doesn't pop off, but it's a thing. Because on my other side, it doesn't do that at all. It actually sits on there pretty flush. This one's actually a little lifted, so I'm thinking it might just be coming off a little bit. But for the most part, it looks really good. And I also forgot I never put the lenses back on Garuda. Hold on a second. When attaching the lenses back onto Garuda, they're actually not fully circular if it will ever focus on them. They actually have little grooves to line up with the little claws on the end of the barrel. So you gotta rotate the lens until it slides in. Then you just push it in. And now we got Super MechaGodzilla fully complete. Looks awesome. Pretty much how I remember it from the film. Looks really good overall. And just makes me very, very happy that I decided to pick up the little accessory pack at G-Fest, because now I feel MechaGodzilla is fully complete. And it was just, without this little accessories pack, I just always felt like MechaGodzilla was always missing something with his release, which probably would have been rectified if they just would have included Garuda, or even just at least the shock anchors. Like, this is pretty much just something for MechaGodzilla, so that would have been cool if it would have came with the original set, and not have to be something that Garuda needed to come with. But I can understand, because with this small figure, they want to pack in enough accessories to make it seem like it's worthwhile to purchase, and overall, I think it is, especially if you could pick it up for a pretty reasonable price. And for some quick comparison, here we have the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla and Garuda accessory pack, or you may know as Super MechaGodzilla, compared next to the SH MonsterArts second production run of the Heisei Godzilla and Fire Rodan. And your Super MechaGodzilla compared next to the Treadmaster 10-inch MechaGodzilla and the Garuda accessory to go along with it. And I know I mentioned, you'll see here that it's actually fully encased. I never opened this thing. I was going to open it to actually show both Super MechaGodzilla side by side, but I've come to realize that I'm actually missing the plate on the back here to be able to attach them to this, so I'm going to save that for another video, even though I did say that I would open it in this one. That, and I might be moving soon, so I want to have as many things boxed up as possible. But I'm going to try to acquire that piece, and when I do, I'll do a review. And here's compared next to the NECA Pacific Rim Mutavor and the Ultimate Striker Eureka. And here's compared next to my Bandai Vinyl Godzilla Island MechaGodzilla 2, who also has to use his tail as a stand, and my Treadmaster Baby MechaGodzilla. Freaking adorable. And here's next to the SH MonsterArts 2001 Godzilla, or you may know as GMK Godzilla, and the Ultra Act Ultraman Ginga. So overall, the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla and Garuda effect set, I personally love these things, especially combined together. It's easily one of my more favorite SH MonsterArts that are in my collection. Love the effect set that it comes with. and overall works pretty well for me. But granted, with the articulation that he has, I wish he had maybe a little bit more posability. But for what he has, it still replicates what he can do from the movie very well, so there's not too much to really complain there. I guess my only real qualm I have with this set to begin with is just the price tag that it requires to get these guys together. Because if you're expecting to get these guys nowadays, with the reissue coming out, you can find the Garuda a little bit cheaper now. But you're going to be looking at easily over $200. And that's pretty much how much Biollante was when she came out. And that figure is gigantic compared to these things. But it is still pretty cool that it comes with all these little accessories and can pretty much replicate most anything from the movie, especially if you have the Fire Rodan. So for this version, I recommend picking it up if you really like recreating scenes from the film. Then this is definitely the definitive version for that, because with all the effect sets, you're going to pretty much be able to do whatever you want. And that's not what you're going to be able to get with the new version. But with the new Super MechaGodzilla version, you're definitely going to have more change in your pocket after that exchange, so you definitely have to weigh your options. But what do you guys think? Do you guys like the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla and Garuda? What repaint are you most excited about, or is the show MechaGodzilla just more a thing? Please let us know in the comments. We'll have closer images guy on our website if you want to click the link in the description below. Also, we do have a Patreon page, so if you guys want to help support this channel and help its progress and growth, please definitely go check it out there. Also, another link in the description below. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.